taking action for you. Action News 5 at 4 starts now.
A 16-year-old who was the lone survivor of an overdose on drugs in a high school parking lot is now charged with the murder of 2 girls involved in this case. Find out what led investigators to charging this teen. Plus, a Tennessee commission is holding off on decertifying a Memphis police officer charged in the death of Tyre Nichols. We'll explain why. And let the grilling begin. We're now into one of the most important days in the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest as contestants are grilling their best meats for the judges. We're live there talking to some of the contestants, and we're tracking the forecast to make sure you're prepared for the unexpected. We're following some breaking news first at 4. The Pontotoc Police Department in Marshall County, Mississippi has said that they have found the body of a missing man that they've been searching for about a week. Police found the body of Brian Dowdy this morning about a half-mile away from where his pickup truck was found in Pontotoc. Someone last saw Brian on Highway 15 near Turnpike Road. Police found his truck the same day 40 miles northwest of Pontotoc. Authorities believe that he was traveling to Texas to return to work. His cause of death has not been revealed. Well, it's been just 2 days since the deaths of 2 Fayetteville High School students. The third teenager who survived is now facing multiple charges. Thank you for joining me for Action News 5 at 4 on this Thursday. I'm Noah Sershin. Kim and Joyce have the afternoon off. Action News 5, Stephanie Douglas is in Fayette County and shares what's next in this developing case.
While we don't know the identity of the lone 16-year-old survivor, we do know now she's facing 2 counts of second-degree murder and 1 count of possession of a controlled substance following the death of her 2 classmates. In a special session of juvenile court this morning, Fayette County Juvenile Judge David Douglas decided that the teen girl would be released to the custody of her grandmother as an alternative of being locked up. This comes after DA Mark Davidson confirmed with Action News 5, narcotic investigators found drugs at the scene of the crime as well as the home where a search warrant was executed. Davidson also said investigators found evidence through text messages and social media. The 16-year-old will be placed on house arrest. It can only go to school and counseling. Meanwhile, here at Fayetteville Comprehensive High School, in less than an hour, the community and the school will gather to hold a balloon release for the 16-year-old and 17-year-old who passed away in that overdose. We'll keep you updated. Reporting from Fayette County, Stephanie Douglas, Action News 5.
Stephanie, thanks. And while an arrest has been made in these overdose deaths, the community there is remembering the victims. Happening tonight at 5, a balloon release will be held at Fayetteville High School. Our Stephanie Douglas will attend that balloon release, and she'll have the latest tonight on Action News 5 at 5 and 6. Memphis police need your help tonight identifying 3 suspects who robbed a man at gunpoint in his driveway. This happened Monday at a home on 1440 Rustwood Road in Berclair before 5. The victim said that he was standing in his driveway when 3 men exited a silver 4-door Infiniti and ran towards him armed with guns. The suspects took items from the house and left. All of the suspects were wearing dark clothing and had facial coverings. Memphis police said that the same men were responsible for another robbery just 3 minutes away. If you know any information about these 2 robberies, call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Memphis police also need your help looking for this man who they say entered the Beauty Nation at 3246 Jackson Avenue and robbed the business at gunpoint. The male suspect pointed a handgun at the store clerk and demanded money from the cash drawer. Police are looking for a black man near the age of 20 who was between 5'8" and 5'9", who was wearing a black hoodie, gray and black pants with gray and red shoes, and 1 blue glove. Call Crime Stoppers with any information. 3 people are seriously hurt after a 3-vehicle wreck. It happened at Barron and Pendleton. Memphis fire crews arrived at the scene around 12:50 this morning. No word yet on what caused the crash. New at 4, a Tennessee commission has decided to hold off on decertifying one of the 5 former police officers charged in Tyre Nichols' death. The Tennessee Police Officers and Standards Commission agreed to a request by the attorney for Tadarius Bean to hold off on any recommendation to strip him of a state police decertification until his legal case is resolved. The 24-year-old is one of 5 officers charged with second-degree murder in Tyre Nichols' death. He, along with the 4 other officers charged, have pleaded not guilty. The commission is set to vote tomorrow on the recommendation. Earlier today, local anti-violence activists spoke out about the recent Morant controversy. The star guard was suspended from the Memphis Grizzlies after an Instagram video showed him flashing a gun. This is his second gun-related incident in just 2 months. While his actions seem to be perfectly legal, the activists say he needs to be a better example for children.
So that's why we came out here to let him know we ain't mad at you, we're just disappointed. We're just disappointed, and the kids want you to say one thing: you're sorry to us. Apologize to the children. The grown people are grown. The children are the future.
The activists brought out a children's casket and landed right outside of the FedEx Forum to remind people of the consequences of gunplay. Turning to weather now, a bit of a cloudy day in the Mid-South and cooler as we're taking a live look from Tomley Park as the second day of the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest is underway. First Alert Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers is live there from Tomley Park, but first let's get a quick check of the forecast with meteorologist Spencer Denton. He joins us now with the first alert to cooler temperatures and more rain chances. Spencer, welcome back to the floor.
Hey, glad to be back this afternoon and enjoying the nice weather out there across the Mid-South. We have some clouds mixing with that sunshine at times. Now, here in Shelby County, like they said, no chance of a downpour. However, down in North Mississippi, we've got a couple of them popping up north of Oxford this afternoon, especially in parts of Marshall County. But we are high and dry, especially down on the river where that's most important this afternoon for the barbecue festival. But you can see that we're looking at mostly cloudy skies and some isolated downpours near Sardis Lake right now between Holly Springs and Abbeville, also between Abbeville and Oxford as well. So here's the setup. We have our next big system that's going to bring a round of showers and thunderstorms possibly tomorrow night, but this evening looks dry for most of us except for a few in North Mississippi. Temperatures falling into the 70s. The good news is the risk for severe weather tomorrow evening very low. It's down to a marginal risk for tomorrow evening. I'll go hour by hour in Futurecast coming up.
All right, Spencer, we'll check back in with you in a few. Folks, I think this will be your favorite story today. The Memphis and Mayoral Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest is back in Tomley Park, and you know what? It's going strong today as day 2. And to give us a look at the action, we sent out Action News 5's Chief Meteorologist Ron Childers to the riverfront for a peek at the meats. So, Ron, tell us what's on the grill right now.
Oh, you guys, let me tell you, and you left out the new and improved Tomley Park. Yeah. It's my first time to see it, and it is amazing out here. I'm absolutely loving it. Listen, we're in the Home Depot booth right now, and I got Joe Downey with me, Mr. Home Depot. Dude, you brought some grills.
We've got over 50 grills here. We've got every big brand in the entire grill industry in this booth. We got Traeger, we got Weber, we got Oklahoma Joe, Char Grill Loco, we've got them all.
Wow, it's absolutely amazing. So people can actually come through and just kind of see what kind of grills, what they do and how the different ones work, right?
That's right. We've got all of the grills here. In addition to grills, we've got griddles, we've got pizza ovens, we've got the full spectrum of outdoor cooking. And in addition to that, we've got presenters every hour on the hour, world champions.
Yeah, you brought some of the best cooks in the industry.
These are true world champions. We got Chris Lilly on the stage, and what they're doing is they're teaching you how to do some of their world championship barbecue in your backyard on a Home Depot grill.
What do you think we go crash Chris Lilly's demo? Can we do it? Can we do? We may get in trouble, so stand by. Here we go. Hey, Chris. I brought a television camera. Chris Lilly from Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue, the absolute best, ladies and gentlemen. You're teaching them how to do it today, huh?
I'm teaching them how to do it. We got a good crowd out here. We're just, hanging out right by the river with friends and family. I mean, how can it get better than that?
Dude, you've won this competition numerous times, but today you're teaching people just how to cook on their own, huh?
This is backyard cooking at its best. Actually, my favorite kind of cooking. I'd rather cook in my backyard as cooking a competition anytime because I'm surrounded by the people I want to be around, Yeah. But this is where it starts, the charcoal grill in your backyard. And what I do here is exactly what I do in competition on the bigger grill. This is a Weber Charcoal Summit. We're hanging out at the Home Depot tent right here. I got it fired up with Kingsford charcoal. And I've got a little airline chicken breast we got seasoned. We want to go directly, listen to that.
I hear the sizzle.
That's right.
Sizzle.
So this is great in that you can do direct grilling on this side, but then when you want to get away from the fire, say you're cooking ribs in your backyard and you don't want to burn them, you want to push those away from the coals, okay, to go over indirect heat, where this chicken breast, I want to char that skin up. So we want to go over direct heat.
Oh,
until that skin is just perfectly
and
charred.
I wish you could smell it right now.
Oh,
it's just even beginning. We're going to come back to you and let those cook. And look, we're going to be doing a little thing on our digital platform because I want to know about Alabama white sauce. You guys did that, and Chris Lilly, Big Bob Gibson's Barbecue. Back to the demo, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for letting us crash. We appreciate it. And, buddy, we'll talk to you. I can't wait to taste that. We are live at the Memphis in May World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest. All the fun is here, all the smoke, and all the grills, too. Live at Tom Lee Park. Ron Childers, back to you guys.
Oh, Ron has the good assignment today. Thanks, Ron. Coming up, it's been a busy day for Tennessee Governor Bill Lee as he signed many bills into law. We'll break them down next. But first, President Biden is handling international relations today. Find out what's going on with the G7 summit in Japan in a live interview with our political correspondent. And a big honor for one MSCS student. Up next, how the student is choosing to inspire others. Next. President Biden is in Japan today for this year's G7 summit, and we're following along for the three-day event. Joining us to talk about those developments and other information from the White House and beyond is Action News 5's White House correspondent John Decker. So, John, President Biden landed in Hiroshima. What are the top items for President Biden during this G7 summit?
Top items on the agenda, the war in Ukraine and also China. As it relates to Ukraine, the U.S., our G7 allies, will continue to commit to support Ukraine militarily. The war in Ukraine has been going on for close to 15 months now. And in fact, President Zelensky last week during a visit to Germany, France, and the UK received additional pledges of billions of dollars in military aid, which will be very helpful. So you're going to hear that. You're also going to hear pledges to continue to apply economic pressure on Russia. The sanctions, according to the U.S., have been working, and we're likely to see tougher sanctions announced against Russia during the course of this summit. And then on China, China is a bad actor, according to the U.S., on trade policy. They block American companies from doing business in the country. They steal American intellectual property. And it's not just the U.S., it's also the intellectual property of our G7 allies. So there will be a focus on that during the course of this three-day summit.
And President Biden has canceled visits to Papua New Guinea and Australia, where he had been scheduled to speak with the leaders of Australia, India, and Japan. Why did the White House scrap that portion of the trip, and will the president still be meeting with those leaders?
Well, the reason had everything to do with what's happening back home in Washington, those debt ceiling talks, the concern that the U.S. is going to default on its debt obligations should no deal be reached between the White House and Republicans in terms of extending the debt ceiling. And so the president, at the conclusion of the summit on Sunday, will immediately fly back to Washington, D.C. to continue those talks. And the White House believes to seal the deal. The president expressing optimism that a deal is within reach. Speaker McCarthy also indicating that he sees a pathway to a deal. So it's good to see both sides expressing optimism of a deal being reached within the next week. And the clock is ticking. June 1st is that deadline, the Treasury Secretary says, before the U.S. could default on its debt obligations should no agreement be reached.
All right, that's Action News 5's White House correspondent John Decker. Thanks for waking up with us early in there in Japan. Teachers in Tennessee will get a pay raise. That's because Governor Bill Lee signed the Teacher Paycheck Protection Law this week. This will raise the minimum salary for teachers to $50,000 a year by 2026. That's up $5 from $35,000 from 4 years ago. Governor Lee says that this is the largest salary increase in history.
Teaching is more than just a career, it's a calling. And to all of Tennessee's remarkable teachers, thank you. We are grateful for your hard work and your dedication to serve Tennessee students and families.
The new law just doesn't increase teacher pay, it also weakens teacher unions. This law bans the automatic collection of union membership dues from teachers' paychecks. Well, Tennessee Governor Bill Lee has also signed a bill to remove community oversight boards across the state. The measure changes how police officers are investigated by replacing community boards with police advisory and review committees. Republicans say that the new law will make oversight uniform across the state, but Democrats say that it eliminates the ability for citizens to hold police officers accountable. Well, we're sending out a high five to one MSCS student who received a grant for his entrepreneurship goals. Malachi Benton is set to graduate Saturday from the MSCS virtual school, but graduation isn't the only thing he's been working towards for the past couple of years. For the past few months, Benton participated in the MSCS Project Stand mentorship group, where they mentor students into reaching their business goals. At the time of the completion of the program, Benton was awarded a $1,000 grant, and that grant was helped to launch a business idea that he had developed. Benton says that this mentorship helped him in more ways than one.
Well, I've always wanted to become an entrepreneur, but I think I really needed that program to help push me and to guide me into actually, applying certain things to my actual businesses when I start them. It helped me with business credit, also, with industry reports and like doing a bunch of background research on what you want to do.
The soon-to-be graduate will attend college in St. Louis. Congratulations, Malachi. All right, let's get a check of the first alert forecast. And Spencer, you're tracking some rain in the barbecue fest as we head into the weekend?
Except for maybe tomorrow night. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But it's not going to impact many of the events going on, I think, because this may end up being a late night event. So we're talking about a marginal risk for a few severe storms. They actually dropped it down, and I think that was a good call by the Storm Prediction Center because this does not look like a big risk to us. There could be a few storms with some gusty wind closer to midnight, I think, really 9 p.m. to midnight tomorrow night. Now, there could be a stray storm or two during the day tomorrow, but it shouldn't be anything widespread. Now, we do have a couple of downpours, even a couple of isolated storms to the south in parts of North Mississippi. Thankfully, we're high and dry for the folks that are down there at the barbecue cooking contest this evening, but just to the south, we have these downpours across Marshall County, southern Marshall County, across Sardis Lake, and then as you go into Panola County, especially south of Highway 278, these are putting down some pretty heavy rainfall. And as we put this in motion, let's put the radar in motion, you can see they're kind of drifting off to the west and southwest a little bit. So they're not moving toward Memphis, but we're trying to get a few more popping up closer to Highway 72 in North Mississippi. So we'll keep an eye on it. In the meantime, here's what to expect. So we have a front that's going to move in from the west. A warm day tomorrow, even warmer than today. So while the humidity levels haven't been too bad, if you're out in the sun beaming down on you, that will make you break a sweat. And certainly tomorrow you will. But we'll see scattered showers and storms move through tomorrow night, and then a mild and mostly dry weekend. Let's talk about the exact timing for all this. 8 p.m. tonight, anything that's out there should dissipate. We'll see a partly cloudy to mostly clear night ahead. Tomorrow, there could be a pop-up shower in the afternoon, but again, nothing widespread at this point. Then we see scattered showers and storms by 11 o'clock tomorrow night. A few of those could contain heavy rain and gusty wind, and then it should be out of here by Saturday morning, although we could see a lot of clouds linger for the first half of Saturday. 68, a few clouds tonight. It's going to be a pretty warm night out there, and then heading into tomorrow, 86. Some areas could hit 87 or 88. It's going to be a warm one. Southwest wind 5 to 10. Memphis Showboats game this weekend. Don't want to forget about that. Temperatures in the 70s. There could be some clouds early on in that game, but otherwise Sunday looks fantastic. Highs around 78. Lows at night very comfortable in the 50s. We're back in the low to mid 80s heading into next week, and right now it does look like we'll be mostly dry next week. So our biggest chance of rain likely comes tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, Spencer. Well, this is a pretty bizarre story here. You normally hear of a chicken crossing the road, but never an alligator. Well, that came true in the city of Pearl, Mississippi. Pearl police helped that alligator cross Highway 80 last night. Once the gator crossed the highway, agents with the Mississippi Department of Wildlife and Fisheries and Parks were called out to relocate the reptile. Well, printing isn't always black and white. We're going to help you calculate the cost of printing and how to print at home, and also figure out how you can do it for cheap. That's next in our Bottom Line Report. We'll be right back.
Taking action. For you, you're watching Action News 5 at 4.
Well, it's the warning you hate to see. Your printer is low in ink, and the cost of replacement cartridges has you seeing red. You know what? You're not alone. Action News 5's Ariana Poindexter has the bottom line today on how you can save money on ink. And you know what? It actually starts by buying the right printer.
People have a lot to say when it comes to printer ink. Printer ink is unexplainably expensive.
You're continuously having to buy ink, which isn't cheap.
And it doesn't last.
Consumer Reports hears you loud and clear and has some good money-saving news when it comes to printers and ink.
You want to choose a printer that doesn't waste a lot of ink on maintenance cycles and one that doesn't have high cost to replace that ink.
And its laboratory tests, Consumer Reports calculates both factors so you can see just how much a printer will really cost you over time. Inkjet printers that use cartridges typically have very high ink costs and aren't known for being very reliable. But one model that does well in CR's tests, has a low price tag, and moderate ink cost for an inkjet is this all-in-one printer from Brother. It uses about $68 worth of ink each year. Ink costs are based on typical printer use, which is roughly 30 pages of text and 10 pages of graphics each month. If you do a lot of printing in color, there's a better option that'll actually save you money over time, even though the upfront cost is higher.
Tank printers don't use ink cartridges. They have reservoirs that you refill with bottles of ink.
And compared to cartridges, those bottles are a bargain. Ink for this Epson Eco Tank is only $5 a year, and if you own it for a few years, it becomes one of the cheapest printers in CR's ratings. If you don't need to print in color, CR says a black and white laser printer is your best bet. This all-in-one from Canon only costs about $13 a year for toner, and it gets top marks for text quality and speed.
No matter what kind of printer you're using, CR says there are ways to save ink or toner, such as using draft mode, using printer-friendly all-text versions of stories, or changing your font to Times New Roman, which CR says gets you 27% more mileage on ink compared to Arial. With your bottom line report, I'm Ariana Poindexter, Action News 5.
Well, get ready to get your iced coffee fix this May. Officials with Dunkin' Donuts announced the return of Dunkin' Iced Coffee Day on May 23rd. Guests can make their coffee run count as $1 from every iced coffee sold at participating Dunkin' Donuts locations. It will be donated to the Dunkin' Joy and Childhood Foundation in Mississippi. Proceeds will benefit Children's of Mississippi, the state's only children's hospital. Next at 4:30, a lawsuit is playing out in court over Memphis residency requirements on candidates for mayor of our city. We'll give you a look at the hearing that could change things for two of the candidates. Plus, immigration policy Title 42 has ended in the U.S., and there's still lots of mixed messaging from government leaders on how to deal with the influx of migrants. See what some states are doing to deal with the influx, as well as how Mississippi is helping on the border. And there's still fun on the riverfront as the second day of the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest is taking place. Our chief meteorologist Ron Childers will join us back out live from Tom Lee Park. Action News 5 at 4:30 starts right after this.
Taking action for you. Action News 5 at 4:30 starts now.
Action News 5 at 4:30 starts with the fight for Memphis mayor as it continued today. In court, Shelby County Sheriff Floyd Bonner and the NAACP President Van Turner are both challenging the proposed 5-year residency requirement to hold the office of mayor that some say is in effect. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me for Action News 5 at 4:30. I'm Noah Sershin. Action News 5's Kelly Cook was inside today's court hearing on this matter. And Kelly, do we have a decision yet?
No decision has been made just yet. Court is in recess right now after more than 4 hours of debate. At stake here is a chance for two candidates considered really front runners in the race for mayor early on if they can formally put their name in the hat to run. Now, time is running out. They can start pulling petitions on Monday in order to run for mayor. Today we heard from Chancellor Joe Jenkins. He was residing over court today and was hearing those arguments. It was a packed courtroom. Both Van Turner and Floyd Bonner were present, along with Memphis City Council Chair and Vice Chair Bartavius Jones and J.B. Smiley. Now, City Council now co-plaintiffs in this case. The reason why the City Council has a stake is the plaintiffs are arguing that the residency requirements for the City Council is the same as for mayor. Voters passed a referendum in 1996 removing the 5-year residency requirement to run for council. Plaintiffs are arguing that referendum included the mayor of Memphis based on the city charter, and not allowing the candidates to run will disenfranchise voters. Now, attorneys from the city of Memphis, they disagree, arguing that was not the intent of that referendum, and now a judge must decide. Also present today, mayoral candidates J.W. Gibson was here, as well as representatives for Michelle McKissick, who plan to run for mayor. J.W. Gibson actually filed a motion to intervene, asking that the judge uphold the city's opinion that the resident requirement is in place. McKissick then agreed and is asking for them to do the same thing as well. But now a judge must decide. It's unclear whether or not we're going to get a ruling, but we'll learn more hopefully by 6 o'clock. Live in downtown Memphis, Kelly Cook, Action News 5.
Thanks, Kelly. New at 4:30, Memphis police have made an arrest in a drive-by shooting at a home in 2022. 32-year-old Darius Williams is facing charges of first-degree murder, 6 counts of aggravated assault, reckless endangerment, employment of a firearm to commit a felony, and being a convicted felon in possession of a handgun. Memphis police were called to a home after 7:30 p.m. on Griggs Avenue near Chelsea on October 29th. 4 people were in the front yard of a home when Williams drove by in a car firing shots. 2 people were inside of the home at the time. 1 was taken to the hospital. A witness identified Williams in a lineup. Williams' bond was set at $750,000. 1 person is dead after a shooting in South Memphis. It happened on Filser Street just after 11 last night. That's off of South Lauderdale. Police do not have any word on what happened. No word yet on any arrest. A man is in the hospital after a shooting Thursday morning. Memphis police responded to a shooting on Hollywood Street at 12:43 a.m. The victim was taken to Regional 1 Hospital in critical condition. Another man who was a suspect drove away from the scene in a white van. If you know anything about this crime, call Crime Stoppers with tips. It's now been almost a week since Title 42 ended in the United States, and government leaders have mixed messages on how states are managing the influx of migrants following the end of the pandemic-era entry restrictions. CNN's Laura Aguirre has the latest.
It was a quiet start to the week at many U.S. border entry points. The massive migrant crowds of last week nearly non-existent after the end of Title 42 restrictions.
The United States Border Patrol has experienced a 50% drop in the number of encounters versus what we were experiencing earlier in the week before Title 42 ended.
Homeland Security comparing 10,000 migrant encounters a day before Title 42 ended, with just 4,200 arrivals on Saturday. Not everyone agrees that a surge has been averted.
They can't predict the peak. CBP said 40% increase is expected with Title 42 gone. That's another 9 million people in 2 years.
A judge's ruling last week temporarily blocked the government's release of most migrants into the U.S. before they have their court date, a move that's stretching resources in several host cities.
We do see that the Border Patrol is full, but we are prepared. We're ready to move forward.
We have finite resources, and we are indeed stressed here in Denver.
The Biden administration is expected to appeal the no-release ruling, as some cities join forces to get a sit-down in the Oval Office.
5 of us mayors, including Mayor Adams of New York, D.C., Chicago, and Denver, have joined together in a letter to the White House that arrives today requesting a meeting with the president.
The federal government should get all the border mayors in one room so we can all be on the same page. This is not a Democrat or Republican problem. This is an American problem.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Some Mississippi National Guardsmen are headed to the U.S. border to assist Border Patrol agents following the end of Title 42. Governor Tate Reeves said that soldiers are a part of the National Guard's 112th Military Police Battalion located in Canton. Title 42, a policy put in place during the pandemic to prevent immigrants from coming to the U.S., came to an end last week. Reeves said the Guardsmen are mobilized and will support officers and agents on the southwest border.
This is a fantastic day to be outside and be out and about, especially if you are going out this afternoon. We had the sun, the clouds, few clouds in the distance, but nothing happening here in Shelby County. Have to go down to the North Mississippi. We told you there might be a few showers down there. There's even one or two trying to creep up into parts of southern Fayette County. I think most of this that's out there, it's very isolated, but these are heavy downpours, will fizzle out as we go toward sunset. In the meantime, it's drifting off to the west this evening, and we're looking for temperatures this evening in the 70s after 9 p.m. Your first alert to storm chances and timing coming up in just a bit.
Spencer thinks Memphis Shelby County Schools parents will have to wait to receive their third graders' TCAP test results. The Tennessee Department of Education will release the English Language Arts TCAP data to districts Friday. These results are very important because of the Tennessee's third grade retention law. It states that third graders who didn't achieve a proficient score in English Language Arts on TCAP would be held back unless they retake the test and make a proficient score, attend summer school, or go through tutoring the following year. MSCS announced on Facebook that they will process the data over the weekend and contact parents and guardians by letter or email Monday.
We're asking parents, once you get the notification that your child has not passed the test or they're non-proficient, then you need to contact your school and ensure that they are there May 24th through May 26th.
The district hopes to have scores out to parents by Monday. Staying in education news, the state of Mississippi went from being ranked the second worst state in 2013 for fourth grade reading up to then 21st last year. Education leaders thank recent laws that emphasize phonics and early screenings for struggling students, but the country has taken notice of what some call the Mississippi miracle. Other southern states have adopted similar policies. The CEO of Mississippi Today has apologized to former Governor Phil Bryant for remarks she made about him and the spending of welfare money. The apology comes a week after Bryant threatened to sue. Bryant said Mary Margaret White made false and defamatory statements about him when she spoke at a journalism conference in February. In her apology, White says she misspoke and called her remarks inappropriate. According to a spokesperson for Bryant, the former governor's legal team was reviewing White's statement and had not decided whether to sue Mississippi Today. No criminal charges were filed against Bryant, and he told the state auditor Shad White in 2019 about possible misspending. The Justice Department is now recommending a 7-year sentence for one man who was involved in the January 6th insurrection on the Capitol. According to NBC News, the Justice Department is recommending Richard Barnett be sentenced to 7 years in prison for his role in the invasion. The 61-year-old became well known after photos of him were posted of him sitting with his boots propped up on Nancy Pelosi's desk in her office. His sentencing hearing is now scheduled for next Wednesday in D.C. Montana becomes the first state to ban TikTok. The governor there signed legislation to make it unlawful for Google and Apple's app stores to offer the social media app within its borders. The ban goes into effect the 1st of next year. TikTok is Chinese-owned. Lawmakers and officials are concerned about an influence over the platform, and not just in Montana. Southwest Airlines is starting a new nonstop summer service between Memphis and Washington, D.C. The daily nonstop flight to Reagan International Airport will start later this summer on July 11th. The route will operate through September 4th. For departure and arrival times, just head to flymemphis.com. Well, we are just days away from the unofficial start of summer travel season, and major airlines say that they are ready for an influx of passengers. Both American and United Airlines anticipate serving more than nearly 3 million passengers each over Memorial Day weekend. American Airlines is operating fewer flights than last year, but offering more available seats. Both companies have added to their payrolls since last year. The Memphis Zoo has introduced 2 new zoo babies. The zoo introduced Zero and Domino. They are both baby Harlequin lambs born at the Once Upon a Farm exhibit. The zoo says that their mother, Electra, is doing a wonderful job caring for and loving on her babies. The twins are on exhibit and are ready to meet zoo guests. Zero and Domino add to the Memphis Zoo's herd of 4 adult Harlequin sheep, Electra, Vixen, Xena, and Batman, who are all named after superheroes. Well, summer sports are beginning to heat up. Next, some heat safety tips to keep your athletes safe. Plus, it's a party on the riverfront as Day 2 of the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest is taking place. We're live there and we'll bring the fun to you next. And later, if you want to live long while looking and feeling great, scientists may have found the key. We'll show you what you need to know so you can live your best life.
Taking action. For you, you're watching Action News 5 at 4:30.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to officially enter the 2024 presidential race next week. That's when sources say he will officially file paperwork with the Federal Election Commission. They say a formal announcement will come the following week. Here's a look at all the candidates running for president. On the Republican side, there are 5 candidates alongside Ron DeSantis. They are Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Larry Elder, Asa Hutchinson, and Tim Scott. On the Democratic side, President Joe Biden is eyeing a second term in office. He will face Democratic competition by Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Firefighters in Charlotte, North Carolina battled a massive fire at a construction site. This is video from that 5-alarm fire, and the damage is already left behind. According to officials, this fire happened in the South Park Mall area in the south part of the city. At least 1 person has been hurt. Looking ahead now, get ready for a Sunday filled with fun as the Southside Wildcats of South Memphis will be hosting a field day. It will take place Saturday evening from 6:30 to 8:30 at Grind City Brewing Company on 76 Waterworks Avenue. They will have games, challenges, and a premier silent auction. All proceeds will go towards the Southside Wildcats of South Memphis. As summer starts, student athletes are hard at work training for the next school year. School officials and doctors urge students to take proper precautions to prevent overheating. Jace Passmore from our sister station KAIT in Jonesboro, Arkansas spoke with one doctor on tips to stay safe, and he has more.
Lightheadedness, dizziness, an upset stomach, like all of a sudden you get sick at your stomach.
These are some of the very important symptoms to watch for while you are outside in the heat. During hot and humid days, our sweat does not evaporate as quickly. This explains why we feel hotter on days where we have higher humidity. So rehydration is crucial.
You're out there a long time, you can start losing potassium, sodium, electrolytes, and things of that nature. So you want to replenish those with the sports drinks.
There are sometimes under extreme heat when our body's cooling system shuts down completely. This is where we start to see people losing consciousness and begin having seizures.
The big thing is get them out of the heat as quickly as you can, make sure they're getting hydrated, cool them off, and get them evaluated by a physician.
Getting your athlete acclimated to hot weather is another preventative measure you can take to help keep your child safe during those hot afternoon practices.
Which basically means that I spend a little bit of time outside each day, and so my body gets used to the heat.
There are many factors that could put you or your child at a heightened risk of heat-related illnesses. Dr. Shane Spites said medication plays a bigger role than you think.
Or high blood pressure, or maybe on a certain heart medication. So individuals that take certain medications that would predispose them to a heat-related illness because they don't manage their fluid the same way.
Alright, some good tips there. Still ahead, Day 2 of the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest is underway. Our chief meteorologist Ron Childers is live there, and we will speak with one pit master next. Stay with us. Day 2 of the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest is underway right now, and in on the fun is our chief meteorologist, Ron Childers. He joins us live now with the latest. Ron?
We've been hanging out in the VIP pit area right now, and this is a special area that people pay to be a part of, and they get their own pit master, the Barbecue Buddha, Chris Sussman. Dude, it's good to see you.
It's great to see you again.
How do you like our new park?
This park is amazing. All of the additions they've done on the green space and the infrastructure they put in since the last time we were here is so beautiful. This is a beautiful place, a beautiful city.
It's cool, isn't it? You got a pretty good view over there.
This is a great view. We are not only the envy of this event because of the big green eggs and the VIP experience, but because of our view and the cool breeze coming off the Mississippi. We have got it made in the shade.
You're cooking on the big green egg. We hear a lot about this, and you've been cooking with big green egg for 5 years now, 2 years with the VI pit.
That's correct.
What is it about this thing?
The ceramic grill is second to none in the marketplace. The design creates a natural convection oven, which gives the best type of meat and cooking experience. The fact that you could take this grill from low and slow to hot and fast in less than 5 minutes makes it the only grill that you'll ever need. And the ceramic design holds in all that heat and protects it from the outside elements, so you can very much use a little bit of charcoal and cook all night long some great barbecue.
How many people are you cooking for this weekend?
We're cooking for 150 people that's in the VIP tent tonight. So we've got on all of these eggs right now, we've got 140 racks of ribs that we'll be serving up for all the lucky VIP attendees tonight.
This is awesome. Hey, look, before we go, we're wrapping it up. I gotta plug your cookbook because, man, I was going through there in the pictures. They're awesome. You want to know how to cook great barbecue, this is the guy to do it. And you can cook this on any grill. You don't necessarily have to have a ceramic grill, any grill, right?
These recipes will convey to any grill, even your oven. You could take this book home and get 100 rock-solid recipes for you and your family.
Chris Sussman, the barbecue Buddha, rocking the green egg, buddy.
Love you, man.
It's good
I'll
to
see
see
you next
you.
year.
That's a deal.
Yeah.
That's a deal. You're going to see me a lot more before the weekend's over, too. Hey, we're live at the Memphis and May World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest. Ron Childers and Tom Lee Park.
Let's take a look at the forecast for those heading down there, maybe to try some barbecue, hang out with some friends at some of the different tents and different areas where people are smoking all those different wonderful meats. You can see that temperatures will be in the 80s. In fact, tomorrow is going to be even warmer than today. So it's not that muggy down there, but man, it is going to be hot with temperatures around 86. And we could see a stray shower or thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon. Not a guarantee, but certainly a possibility. So here's what we're tracking. A marginal risk tomorrow for a couple of strong storms. I'm not overly concerned about this. I think most of it's going to come through tomorrow night, but there could be some couple of storms with some gusty wind or heavy rain between 6 p.m. and 12 a.m. We actually have a couple of storms out there this afternoon across North Mississippi. A couple of those trying to push their way toward Collierville out of North Mississippi, but they should fall apart as we approach sunset. Still some heavy downpours north and south of Sardis Lake along Highway 278 as well east of Batesville. Now, most of this activity is just kind of drifting off to the west this afternoon, so it's not really moving all that much. Area of low pressure down along the Gulf kicking up all those showers and storms mostly over Alabama, but as we look to the northwest, this is our next weather maker that's going to come in and bring a round of showers and storms tomorrow night. So here's Futurecast starting this afternoon. Again, a couple of downpours through sunset in North Mississippi. I think we'll be okay here in most of Shelby County. Tomorrow morning, partly cloudy to mostly clear, increasing clouds through the day. But notice there's not a huge coverage of showers and storms tomorrow afternoon. I think most of this comes in tomorrow night, especially toward midnight through early Saturday morning. Should be out of here by late Saturday morning. However, can't rule out a couple of showers lingering on Saturday. Keep that in mind. Look at the clouds. They're really building now. A mostly cloudy sky in Olive Branch along Goodman Road. Oxford is down to 70 because of those nearby showers and storms earlier today, but the rest of us in the mid 80s. As we go through tonight, we drop to the upper 60s with a few clouds heading into tomorrow. 86, southwest wind 5 to 10, 30% chance of a shower or thunderstorm. And again, there could be a few showers lingering early Saturday morning. The clouds may linger for much of the day as well, so that temperature may not be reached, but either way, we'll hit the upper 70s by Sunday, low to mid 80s by next week, but it does look like we'll stay pretty quiet weather-wise, so the big chance of rain, if we have one, is going to be tomorrow evening into tomorrow night.
Thanks, Spencer. Well, you've heard the sayings before, you're only as old as you feel, and age is just a number. Well, scientists who study aging say that there's something to that. Researchers want to determine a person's biological age or how an individual body responds as people get older. As Action News 5's Andrew Douglas now explains, there are steps we can all take to become what's known as a super ager.
Why are people happy and spry as they add years to their lives while others struggle with sickness and disease? It's a question that's nagged researcher Adi Gukher for years. Her grandparents lived with them growing up. She calls her grandfather a superhero.
He could walk up 3 flights of stairs. He's in his 80s, washed his own clothes, picked me up from school.
Her grandmother was the same age, yet she struggled.
Since she was in her 60s, she was constantly getting one disease or the other.
These days, this cell biologist is looking to answer the question of why some people are super agers, seemingly avoiding disease and disability, while others are early agers.
As we age, we kind of have these funky looking cells in us called zombie cells. In actual science, they are called senescent cells.
Those cells release inflammation into surrounding tissue. Inflammation is thought to increase the risk of diseases like type 2 diabetes and heart disease. Researchers work to find ways to rid our bodies of these zombie cells. Professor Gurkare says prevention is the key. She says a little exercise goes a long way. Keeping a positive attitude, your mind will tell your body what to do, and eat a healthy diet.
If we take small steps today, we may have a healthier tomorrow.
Researchers also say it's so important to maintain an active social life. People who keep strong relationships and friendships tend to live well into their 80s and 90s. With ways to live your best life, I'm Andrew Douglas, Action News 5.
All right, though, that's some good advice there. Still to come on Action News 5 at 4:30, Bluebell is adding another flavor to its ice cream selection. We'll tell you what it is next. Coming up tonight at 5, murder charges in the overdose of 2 teens, why a 16-year-old survivor is facing jail time possibly, and Curb is no more, why a panel tasked with keeping police in check is being scrapped and what's replacing it. Plus, it's the barbecue lover's dream down by the riverfront. We're taking you live to Tomley Park for day 2 of the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest. These stories and a whole lot more tonight at 5. In consumer news now, Ford is recalling over 4,000 SUVs because of its rear cameras. This has to do with those cameras not working. It can cut visibility and increase the risk of crashes. The recall covers certain Ford Explorers and Lincoln Aviators from 2020 through 2023 year models, as well as 2020 through 2022 Lincoln Corsairs. Be careful if you use these candles sold at Target. These candles are being recalled because you can cut yourself or burn yourself while handling them. The retailer is recalling nearly 5 million of these candles because they could crack while they are burning. They have received more than 100 complaints already. Google says that it will start deleting accounts that are inactive. They are deleting accounts that haven't been used in 2 years. The company says the move is intended to prevent security risk. This updated policy will take effect immediately, but Google will not start deleting those accounts until December of this year. The company is planning to send out multiple warning notifications to users. The policy will only affect personal accounts. Apple is working on a new live speech tool that will play out words in your voice. To set it up, you'll read from a random set of prompts so it can get a feel for how you sound, and then your voice is stored so it can produce live speech. Apple says that it wants to make it easier for people with voice disorders to still connect with loved ones. The feature will be available later this year. Finally tonight, Bluebell is teaming up with Dr. Pepper to create a new ice cream flavor. It's called Dr. Pepper Float, and it features a creamy vanilla ice cream swirl with Dr. Pepper flavored sherbet. And you know what's even better? It's available right now. All right, well, that does it for Action News 5 at 4 and 4:30 today. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, we do appreciate it. More news in your all-important First Alert forecast is next. Action News 5 at 5 with Joe Birch, Joy Redmond, and meteorologist Spencer Denton starts right after this break. Have a great afternoon and evening.
With the WMC Action News 5 mobile app, you'll be the first to know. From WMCActionNews5.com to text and email alerts for breaking news and weather. It's all right here in the palm of your hand. Sponsored by the Robert Trent Jones Golf Trail.